Okay, we are now going to discuss the layout widgets. Okay, so what are layout widgets? These are actually widgets that are responsible for arranging and positioning their children within the parent widget. So these are the widgets that can contain other widgets. Okay, and what's the purpose? It is for arranging and positioning other widgets. Okay, so they are the ones who are going to determine the size and position of their children based on some constraints and rules. Okay, so we are going to use them so that we could properly position our different widgets into our screen. Okay, so there are two types of layout widgets. So we have the single type layout widgets and the multiple or multi-child layout widgets. So in this video we are going to discuss the single child layout widgets. Okay, so these are the layout widgets that could contain only one widget. Okay, so the first widget that we have here is align. So align is a widget that aligns its child within itself and optionally sizes itself based on the child's size. So the main purpose of this is to align the child, okay, or the widget contained within this widget. Okay, so we are going to go to our previous example. Okay, so we have this one. So we have here an image displayed using the image widget. Okay, and as you can see, by default it is located on the top left portion of our screen. Okay, so how does the align widget positions our image here? Okay, so there are different properties of align. So what are we going to do here is we are going to wrap this with the align widget. Okay, so I'm just going to click on the bulb, then wrap with, we don't have the align here, so we're going to have widget, then I'm going to have the align. Okay, so align widget, it has an alignment property wherein we could use this one here on how are we going to position our image. So we have here the alignment that, let us say, okay, so by default is we have here the top left. Okay, so how about if ever I'm going to position it on top center? Okay, so I selected here top center, so save. So we should expect now that our image here will be positioned along the center. Okay, so we have here reload. So as you can see here now, it is now positioned on the top center. Okay, so we have other values here. For example, we are going to have on the bottom center. Okay, so it should be positioned here. Okay, this is the bottom center. Okay, so then save and reload. So as you can see, our image is now positioned on the bottom center. Okay, so you could still try any of the different values here. For example, center left or center right. Okay, I have the center right, then reload, so it is now positioned on the center right. Okay, so that's the alignment or the align widget. Okay, so next in our list is we have the center widget. Okay, alignment block that centers its child within itself, and actually it is going to center the image. Okay, so if every time I'm going to change this one in to center, okay, and I'm going to remove the alignment property, then save and reload, it now centered our image into centered horizontally and vertically. Horizontal and vertical. Okay, so if ever the center is contained or it contained a column or multiple widgets. Okay, so if ever we are going to have another image here, it is going to center both of the widgets equally along, in this case, vertically. Okay, if ever we have a row, it is going to center them horizontally. Okay, but as of now, we are still on the single child layout widget. Okay, so later on in our next video or in the upcoming videos, we are going to have more than one widget here. Okay, so that's for our center. Then we have the container. Okay, so we have already discussed, or in our previous videos, we have talked about the container. Okay, so we're just going to have it here. Okay, container. Okay, so I have here the container. Oops, wait, that's our drawer. Okay, so we have our container, save and reload. Okay, so again, so we have here now our container here. Then by default, it is positioned on the top left. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the size into our container, because if ever we have our container, okay, the image will be let us say we are going to force this one here, our image, for example in this example here, to whatever will be the size that I have it here. Okay, that's what I want. Okay, but in our case here, okay, reload, so nothing has changed. Okay, so if ever I'm going to, what's this, the width to 200 and 300, save, reload. Okay, so as you can see, it is now because of our fit here is cover. So whatever will be the size that has been assigned here would automatically followed by the child that we have here. Okay, now anyway, we have already discussed this one here in our previous video. So what I want now is that instead that I'm going the child here, the image as a child, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a circular image. Okay, so I'm going to create a circular image here. Still, we are going to use our bike.jpg. Okay, but in this case, we are not going to have our image as the child. Okay, but before that, okay, before that, I'm going to have, I forgot now. So we have here a very important property, which is padding. Okay, usually padding is can be used here in our container as the margin. Okay, actually it is not the margin, but we are just going to have here. Let us try to find out what would be the result if ever we are going to apply some padding into our container. Okay, so we're going to use the edge insets that I'm going to have first the all. Okay, then we have the value of 50. Okay, so save. Okay, reload. So what have you observed? Okay, so by the way, I'm going to have here a color so that we could actually see the result. Colors that, okay, red. Reload. Okay, so this is now our container. Okay, and we have set here a padding of all, meaning 50 points. So meaning from here up to this point is we have 50 pixels, 50 points. Then we have also from here until here is we have 50 and so on, because we have here the all the constant. Okay, so how about if ever I just want to have the left, I'm going to have 20 points from the left side of the container, I'm going to assign here a padding. Okay, so we are going to use there only. Okay, so in only is we could select creates insets with only the given values of non-zero. Okay, so for example, I'm going to have here only left. Okay, so only left of 20 pixels. Okay, save, then reload. So as you could see here, we have a padding of 20 points or 20 pixels from the left. Okay, so if ever we are not going to apply any color here, so it seems like there will be a margin created from the left to from the left of the screen to the left of the image. Okay, so save, then reload. So as you can see, it looks like a margin now. Okay, so if ever I'm going to add something from the top, and okay, let us say 50 pixels from the top. So what I'm doing here is I am creating here a margin of 50 pixels from the top to the top of the image. Okay, so reload. So we have here 50. So at this point here, it looks like actually a margin from the top to the top of the image and to the left. Okay, but actually what we are doing here is we are creating here a padding from the container. We have actually a container here that contained our image. Okay, in fact, if ever we are going to have here the color, reload, then you could see here our container. Okay, again, if ever I am going to remove this, it looks like a margin. Okay, so that's one of the usage of the container. Okay, so let's go back to my previous comment that I want to create a circular image. Okay, we still have our bike here, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove all of these. Okay, and I'm going to create here a decoration. Okay, so a decoration here is the decoration to paint behind the child. Okay, so what is good with our decoration here is we could actually create, okay, first is we have a box decoration. Okay, so what I want with the box decoration here, what I really like here is we have here an image property. Okay, so I click on the image property and it requires a decoration image widget. Okay, decoration image, and the decoration image again requires an image property. Okay, yeah? So what should be our output? What should be our the value that we are going to have with our decoration image? So as you can see here, we are going to provide an image provider object. Okay, so what would be our image provider here? So we are just going to use now the class we have asset image, because as I have said, we are going to use the bike from the assets folder. Okay, then I'm going to supply here assets slash images slash bike dot jpeg. Okay, comma, save. Okay, let's try to find out what's the output of this code here. Reload. Okay, so still we could see here the image. Take note, we remove here the child. Okay, so I have replaced it with a decoration and an image, so you could still see here our image, but still rectangular. Okay, so in our decoration here, in our box decoration here, we could actually identify the shape of the background image or the decoration image, and I'm going to have here a box shape that circle. Okay, so save, then reload. So we have here a bit circular now. Okay, so how are we going to make this one here as circular? Okay, by the way, first our image should be in our asset image, we are going to have here our feet. Okay, so feet should be box feet. Now I'm just going to use here that cover. Okay, by default it is contained. As you could see here, it is contained. Okay, so I'm going to use here a cover. Okay, then save, reload. So as you could see, it is now circular. Okay, or trace cover. So it's not yet okay. So as you can see here on top, it is not yet fully circular. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a circular, no, a square image. Then we are going to issue the command circle. Okay, so save, then reload. Okay, so as you can see, it is now fully circular. Okay, so the height and the width must be the same, and we are going to have here the size as circle. The shape, I mean, should be circle. So to remove the blue lines, we're going to have the const. Okay, so we could now actually have here we are going to apply, if you want this to be centered, so wrap it with center. Okay, so take note here, the container object or widget is now a child of the center widget. Okay, so save, then reload. So you can see it is now centered. Okay, so we have here now a combination of the center and the container object widgets. Okay, so actually we could still add, if ever we want to have the child for, this is a child for the container. Okay, so I can add here actually a text. My bike. Okay, save, then reload. Okay, you could see here the my bike. Then actually we could also put it in the center by having center widgets. Okay, but it's up to you. Then try to play with the child here. You could do some padding. We could also move here through a SizedBox or whatever. Then you could change the color and you could change the size. Okay, so this is now our container object. So what is important here with the container now is we could have the padding, and also it could control the height and the width of its child widget. Okay, and as a, this is by the way only the background. Okay, and the child is, we have here are the text. Okay, so try to improve this by using the text style and also with the other layout widgets. Okay, so that's for our container. Okay, so next we have the expanded. Okay, so we are going to go back later with the expanded. I'm going to go first with the padding. Okay, so now I'm going to go back with okay, I'm going to remove. Okay, then I'm going to return with my image, that asset, then asset slash image, images slash bike dot jpeg. Then I'm going to have here a size, the width of 100 and the height of still 100, comma, comma, save and reload. Oops, there's an error. Okay, I'm going to remove the center. Save, reload. Okay, so we're back with our original image. Okay, so we have here the padding. Okay, so padding is just actually going to insets its child by the given padding. Okay, so here we are not going to use a container. Okay, so I have given you the padding with the container, but how about if ever in a situation wherein we don't have to use a container, then we are just going to move or create a margin with our widget. Okay, so here we're going to use a padding widget. Okay, so here I have an image. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to create here a padding wrap with padding. Okay, and as you can see, it automatically added a padding of 8. Okay, let us say 30 so that we could see this. So it is now all. I am using here an all, so therefore 30 pixels on all sides of the image. Okay, so I'm going to click save, then reload. So as you can see here now, we have the padding. Okay, so let us say 200 so that it would look bigger, then reload. So you can see here now our padding. Okay, so this is the only property of the padding object that we could use. Okay, by the way, we're going to have the feet. Okay. Reload. Oops, we have an error. Save and reload. Okay, so as you can see, we have now both 50 and 50 here. No, 30 I mean. Okay, so that's for our padding. Okay, then next is we have our SizedBox. Okay, so far in our previous videos, we have used our SizedBox as spacer, horizontal or vertical spacer. Okay, but take note here that a SizedBox could also have a child. Okay, and if given a child, this widget forces its child to have a specific width or height. Okay, so therefore, whatever would be the size of the SizedBox, okay, the dimension of the SizedBox, that would also be the size of the child. Okay, so let us try. So we have here our, okay, let us say we are going to have here 100 by 100. Okay, save, then reload, save it here. Now I'm going to remove this one here, and I'm going to change this one to SizedBox. Save, reload. Okay, nothing has changed. Okay, so only on the position. Okay, because we don't have any padding here now. Now, as you could see here, the size of the image is we have 100 by 100. Okay, so how about if ever I want to set the height of the SizedBox? I'm going to have it here 300, and the width would also be 300. Okay, so that's 0.0. and we have a comma. Okay, so as you can see here, we have two sizes, okay, for the sized box and the child for the image. Okay, which will prevail? Reload. Okay, based on the definition that we have, the sized box forces the child to follow this size. Okay, the width and the height. Okay, so take note here that sized box is not only used for spacing. Okay, that's because that's what we had before. We used the sized box to create a horizontal or vertical space between widgets. Okay, but if ever you want to specify a certain dimension which is going to be followed by the child, okay, so you are going to create a child property for the sized box. Okay, so far this is something new. This is the new, okay, property for the size box based on what we have discussed before. Okay, so next is the transform. Okay, so transform here, although it is not actually usually being used, okay, but it is possible that you could use also this one here. Okay, so transform is a widget that applies a transformation before painting its child. A transformation, for example, is we have, okay, I'm going to have here transform. Okay, so I'm going to remove the height and the width, and we are going to have, okay, 100 by 100. Then we have here the transform property. Okay, so for the transform property, we could have a matrix for okay, and we're going to try rotation Z. Okay, rotation Z, and the radians here, I'm going to have 0. Let us say 0.5. Let us see what will happen. Reload. Okay, so as you could see here, it has been rotated on the Z axis. Okay, so the point, and actually we could also have a negative value here. Save, then we have reload, so we have it there. Okay, so we could also wrap that in a center widget so that we could see the transformation at the center. Okay, we have save, then reload. Okay, that's for the negative. Okay, so if ever we're going to have 1, reload. Okay, so just play with the different values of the transform property. Okay, then we're going to go back with our expanded. Okay, a widget that expands a child of a row, column, or flex. Okay, so we could see actually only the result of an expanded if we are going to use a multi-child layout widget. Okay, so in a way we have already talked about the column, so I'm just going to use here a column. Okay, so instead we're going to have the transform. Okay, wait. So we have the image, the center, the scaffold. Okay, so we have here our image that asset. Oh wait, I'm going to remove my center. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to wrap my image with a column. Okay, so save, then we have reload. Okay, so we have there, I think I'm going to have a bit bigger. Okay, reload. That's too big. Okay, we're just going to have 100. Okay. So next is I'm going to have, since this is the children, okay, so we have now 3 images. Okay, same image. I'm going to save that, then reload. So you could see we have 3 images. Okay, so then I'm going to create a space in between my this one here, my images. I'm going to use the SizedBox. Okay, and I'm going to have a height of 10 pixels. Then also here, save, reload. Okay, so you could see here now the gap between the 3. Okay, so how are we going to use our expanded widget? So for example, I'm going to use the whole area here, okay, with this image. Okay, so take note, what would be the result if ever I'm going to wrap this one with an expanded widget? Okay, so wrap with widget, I'm going to use an expanded widget. So take note, the third image here is being wrapped with an expanded widget. So therefore, the third image here is a child of the expanded widget. Okay, so as a definition expanded, so we have here, creates a widget that expands to a child so that the child fills the available space among the flex widget's main axis. Okay, so we already know that the main axis of the column is vertical. Okay, so therefore the expanded here will tell the child it is going to occupy the whole space here. Okay, so save, then reload. So you could see here it occupies the whole space. Okay, so how about if ever I am also going to wrap the 2 images here with an expanded widget? Okay, then we have expanded, and the last, by the way, what I'm doing here is a shortcut. No, instead of I'm going to type expanded, then child, and so on, so I'm just going to use this feature here, okay, and wrap with whatever widget that we're going to choose. But if ever it is not here, just select this one here, then just type expanded, save. Okay, so what would be the result? Okay, so I have an expanded, all 3 images are wrapped with separate expanded widgets. Okay, so reload. So as you can see, we have equal sizes for the 3 images. Okay, why? Because I have wrapped them all with the expanded widget. So how about if ever I want the center widget to occupy a bigger space compared with the 2 widgets? Okay, so what are we going to do here is on our second or middle expanded widget, we are going to modify our flex property. Okay, so flex property creates a widget that expands a child so that the child fills, oops, same, available space. Okay, so actually by default their flex is, we have by default 1. Okay, so therefore flex values here are all 1, so therefore all of them have equal sizes. But if ever I'm going to have here 2, okay, so this should occupy a bigger space compared with these 2 here along the y-axis, because this is a column. Okay, so save, then reload. So we could see here the middle image occupies a bigger space compared with the two values here, images. Okay, so that's the usage of our expanded. And by the way, if ever, okay, although there would still be another video for the discussion of the row, I'm just going to show you here the row widget. Okay, so they are going to be arranged horizontally here. Okay, and see what would be the result. Okay, the first or the second image have or has a bigger space compared with the two widgets here. Okay, so we have here a combination of, okay, a multi-child layout widget and a single child layout widget. Okay, so on the next video we are going to have the multiple or multi-layout widgets, multi-child layout widgets. Okay, so as of now, so by the way, there are still a lot of single child layout widgets that you could see that we could use with Flutter, but what I have here are only those commonly used widgets. Okay, but still you could have or you could do some research for the other single child layout widgets, because maybe when you're into create your projects you could use some of them. So we are not limited with only those widgets that I have discussed in this video. Okay, so I hope you understand, or you could now apply these widgets in your projects. So first you are just going to follow what I did here in this video, then try also to have it in your respective small projects. Okay, so that's all for today, and I'll see you on the next video.